Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Anime Ramble. Today I got for you chapter 37 of Kaiju number 8. What's going on? Well, this chapter concludes the fight between the Director General and KAFKA, alright? With KAFKA losing control of Kaiju number 8, Kaiju number 8 taking over and just going on this absolute rampage against the Director General because Kaiju number 8 sensed the essence of number 2, thus triggering a response from him in order to just go into this killing frenzy against the Director General. We saw last chapter, and it's carrying over to this chapter, that KAFKA's body and his mental cannot keep up with the power output that number 8 is producing, and it can't keep up with the regeneration or the distorting that number 8 is doing in order to fight the Director General in number 2. But we did get to see, again, this is something that carried over, the Director General Papashino Maya's estimations for number 8's fortitude is not on the mark, okay? He vastly underestimated number 8 and he's paying for it this chapter. It was stated to be a 9.8, but that was always with KAFKA in control, and we have never gotten a fortitude measurement of Kaiju number 8 while he is in control himself. If the Director General's estimations were right, I don't think he would have stepped into this ring against number 8. I personally don't. But if we're being honest with you, this was just a conclusion of a fight chapter. That's what I really like about Kaiju number 8. You get your dialogue chapters, but then you also get your fight chapters as well. This is just a fight chapter. There's not a lot of dialogue going on, but there is a lot to break down. So with pages 1 through 6, the first thing that I noticed is how much larger number 8 has become since gaining full control over KAFKA's body. He's gone on this rampage, and nothing that Papashino Maya is doing is effective in the slightest against him. Before in chapter 36, you could make the argument that they are even in power. Now in chapter 37, I think it's clear that number 8 is the strongest kaiju we have been introduced to, even amongst the previous ones, because one of my theories was that number 2 was the strongest amongst Dai Kaiju previously, right? 1 through 7. Well, number 8 is clearly the strongest Dai Kaiju in a humanoid form that we've seen thus far, and even beating the previous known strongest Dai Kaiju that the Defense Force had at their disposal. What's interesting about this chapter is, in comparison to the last chapter when we first saw number 8 in the fight, he was doing a lot of movement and regenerating, and we saw that KAFKA's body and his psyche was not able to keep up with how fast number 8 was doing everything. Now granted, he was taking a superb ass beating from the Director General, but I couldn't help but realize that number 8 this chapter, despite not looking tired or exhausted, is opting to not dodge and just take attacks outright and regenerate. He is countering the Director General without putting any more unnecessary strain or harm on KAFKA's body. Just the chapter before, this man was off the loose, okay? He let his entire body get destroyed just to regenerate him next to the Director General. That's how much he really wanted to eliminate number 2. But in this chapter, Kaiju number 8 is taking a much more reserved approach to fighting him. I don't know if that's just because he notices that Shinomai is getting weaker, or he notices that KAFKA's body can't handle any more strain placed on him. So this goes back to what I previously thought about in regard to, if KAFKA's body dies, then Kaiju number 8 dies. They're permanently fused together. Maybe not permanently, but as of right now, there is no separating the two without causing harm to KAFKA. Much like what we saw in Naruto, if you remove the Biju from the Jinchuriki, well, the Jinchuriki dies in most cases. I mean, you know how that goes, but that's just food for thought, alright? Things are starting to look really bad for the Director General, and I mean by page 8, he is getting spun around and slammed into the ground, and it starts becoming a real possibility that he might get killed. In front of his daughter, Kikoru, nonetheless. But this prompts her to remember and flashback to the promise that she made when she first found out about KAFKA being a kaiju, and he was just another regular kaiju to her at that point. And she said, look, if you go out of control, I'm gonna have to kill you. And this isn't a thought that she wants to have, but she's standing in front of a Defense Force member that has saved her life multiple times, and her father, and despite whether or not they have a good relationship, Kikoru and her father, it doesn't negate the fact that it's still her dad, right? And this is very, very painful for her to watch, only because what the fuck are you gonna do if KAFKA gets by him? So Kikoru calls out to KAFKA and was like, look, you gotta get it together. And KAFKA for a split moment managed to regain control over his body, but then you get these panels and you're seeing just how little control KAFKA has always had over Kaiju number 8. Kaiju number 8, if nothing else from this chapter, has proven he is in control. He is always in control, and it's a matter of whether or not he allows KAFKA to remain. And KAFKA has all but given up at this point. He's basically succumbed to the fact that he's not going to get his body back. He really, really does not want to do any more damage. And just as all of this is happening, just as The Director General's on his last leg because number 8 has managed to pin him against the wall, and it's just looking very grim. My whole thing at this point, actually, let me finish my thought real quick. And just as all of that is about to happen, he flashes to Mina, and he remembers the promise and what he's working towards. And you think, it's like, is this about to be an ass pull? Like, how is he about to get out of this? The man punches a hole in his own chest. You see the panel in the artwork of his eyes going in and out, just half awake, half kaiju, half human, and he's just in and out. And he makes a statement, "My name is KAFKA Habino. I am not Kaiju number 8. Things clearly were well beyond the boundaries of the Pride Lane, but nobody jumped in to help him. It's definitely a testament to Papa Shinomiya's own strength, and, you know, of course, this is a military setting, but you gotta think, could you just stand by and watch that happen to your commanding officer, knowing that number 8's fortitude level have surpassed your original estimations, and knowing they've already cracked 2 floor levels, and seeing the Director General physically get worked and pinned down? I don't think I could have just sat there. Like, KAFKA would have had to go. But that is the end of the chapter. What is to come next? I mean, KAFKA managed to gain control. They might have something where he gets some, you know, prototype weaponry or prototype armor, something, maybe a, what's it called? Some type of like collar or shackle that will diminish the control that number 8 has over KAFKA, or at the very least try to contain a lot of that fortitude power that he has, so that Kaiju number 8 can't just randomly take over at any given time. I think that is what the test was for, to see if KAFKA could regain control, because if he's going to remain in the defense force, he needs to be trusted that if it does happen and there's a situation where number 8 and KAFKA are out and there's another Daikaiju, and number 8 is like, yo, I sense another one, and wants to come back and take control. There has to be some sort of, like, you know, if you're familiar with One Piece, Sea Prism Stone, right? Something along those lines that just zap the Kaiju's will to fight, or the ability to take over KAFKA's body. But I'm not going to drag this video out any longer than what it needs to be. If you made it to the end, thank you. If you're new, go plus ultra and smash that subscribe button. Let me know you rock with the content that I put out on the channel. Like the video if you like the video, dislike the video if you dislike the video. Comment on the video your thoughts and what you think is going to happen with KAFKA. Is he going to be reinstated into the defense force? Is, you know, Captain Mina and, you know, Vice Captain Oshina going to get away scot-free? Not that they necessarily did anything wrong, but, you know, the fact that a Daikaiju was able to infiltrate your branch specifically, and y'all had no way of detecting them. And I mean, it might come back to the defense force, because I don't think there's any way for any branch to detect a humanoid kaiju. I can't remember off the top of my head if humanoid kaijus is something that's very common in their universe, but, you know, they're getting up there with Daikaiju, and we're just gonna see what's coming next. So subscribe if you are brand new, and like always, until next time, I'm out.
Enemy RCXD detected. Z-trap, napalm strike inbound. Z-trap, napalm strike inbound. There are no survivors.
TACOM, we have won the day.